Hey guys, if you're shopping for knives and gear, make sure you check out the description of the video you're watching right now for links to some great online retailers. There's also individual links for knives that I personally recommend. Thanks! What's going on, YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got another interesting knife review slash knife overview to share with you guys. This is the Bestech Knives Shinkansen or Shinkansen front flipper. The word apparently comes from, it's a Japanese word that means bullet train. And as the description, or many of the descriptions of this knife that I've read suggest, it is sleek and slender and quick, just like a bullet train would be. So that's interesting, just for your information. This knife was sent to me by Joe. Joe, thank you very much for sending this guy along. It is because of people like Joe that I'm able to bring you guys daily knife content. It's also because of my generous patrons. Thanks so much for supporting me right now. If you'd like to get your hands on some cool stickers and some other benefits, there is, of course, a link down in the description. Your support would mean the world to me. And also, be sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. All right, let's go ahead and get a measurement of this guy. This is definitely a full-size knife. Bestech knives, by the way, are made in China. They are super high-quality Chinese knives. They have a budget line, and then they have more of an expensive line. This is definitely on the more expensive end. This knife also is not currently available at the time of this recording, but I do pre-record my content sometimes a month in advance. So I will include links down in the description where you can go check out whether or not it's actually available. Just wanted to make that clear. Overall length of the Shinkansen coming in at about 8.3, maybe 8.4 inches overall. Blade length is coming in at, boy, about 3.6, and then your cutting edge is coming in at about 3.25. Definitely a big knife. Let's go ahead and do some size comparisons up against the Ontario Rat Model 1. The Rat 1 is coming in just a hair longer, even though it doesn't look that way, at about 8.6 inches overall. How about up against the Spyderco PM2? Spyderco PM2 is coming in at 8.3 inches overall, so just a hair longer. The Shinkansen is a hair longer than the PM2. How about up against the Benchmade Griptilian, or in this case, the Ritter Hogue? Ritter Hogue is coming in at 8 inches overall. And last but not least, the Spyderco Para 3. Spyderco Para 3 is coming in at 7.25 inches overall. How's the action on this guy? This knife runs on bearings. These are, like I said, very high quality knives. This one is completely and totally falls shut, and it is a front flipper that works beautifully well. I think a lot of that is because this front flipper area right here, it's got this little dip that's cut into the front flipper, and that it's really comfortable for me to flip that. Now, any front flipper, I'll tell you guys, no matter how well it's made, if it's your first time handling a front flipper, it's just a bit awkward, right? These frame locks, right? You got to make sure your hands are not putting pressure on the lock bar, and then you got to get your thumb in exactly the right place. And for me, it's almost kind of like a right here, and then I'm almost twisting my thumb this way. I don't like coming up and over. Whoops, I just coming up and over. I almost come off the side right here, and it seems to work really well. But this is definitely one of the most organic front flippers I've felt. Very high quality, very easy to use, so fidget factor is great. And it locks up hard, and there's not much of a issue with access to the lock bar or anything like that. There's a nice area that comes down on your thumb. It's not blade contacting fingernail or anything like that. Everything works. It's great. I have no issues with that whatsoever. Let's go ahead and do a hardware check, get out my tools. You can pick up my tools along with the flashlights that I carry down in my description. I've got them linked pretty close to each other, I think. As is usually the case with most Bestechs, I'm going to go ahead and guess that the pivot is a T8. Let's go ahead and check that here real quick. Yeah, T8. And then I don't even need to check. The rest of these are going to be T6. That's just, I can tell by looking at it. You guys know the drill. I don't like T6. I wish all knives were T8 and up because it makes them easier to disassemble and you're less likely to strip a bit or a screw, right? We can't always get what we want. It's not that big of a deal. There are quite a few screws on this guy. There are screws holding in the inlays, and then there are two body screws back here. Okay, the inlays can be pulled out and I guess swapped with other inlays from the same model. I don't really like to see screws on the inlay, and in this case, it's just additional hardware. You don't necessarily have to take the screws out to disassemble the knife. The ones that are on the inlay, you definitely do have to remove the screws from the body, right? But it's not my favorite design choice. It's not that big of a deal. It's not like it's really causing an issue in terms of function. It's a lot of extra screws and some of them seem kind of unnecessary. All right, let's go ahead and talk about carry profile. So thickness up against the Spyderco Para 3. You can see there, it is about the same thickness as the Para 3. Let's do height and length up against the PM2 and Para 3 because they're a bit awkward in the pocket and nobody ever seems to complain about them. Lengthwise, you're looking at a little bit of a longer handle than the PM2, definitely longer than the Para 3, but it is nowhere near as tall as either of these guys, right? So that's not really that big of a deal. If you like larger knives, then this might be your thing. If you don't like larger knives, then it might not be your thing. In terms of blade stock thickness, let me get my calipers here real quick. We are looking at, I'm going to guess 150 thousandths. Yeah, about 150 thousandths there on the blade. On the inside here, get out the old MSR. Really enjoying this flashlight, by the way. That one's listed down there, I believe, now as well. You can see on the inside, I've got this flashlight set really dim. Let me get one that's got a little bit more brightness to it. You can see there on the inside, we do have a bit of milling going on. So that's nice because this is not an overly massive knife, but it is big. There's a lot of material here. So in terms of weight, what that equates to, let me go ahead and zero this out real quick. Sorry about that. Overall weight of the Bestech Shinkansen. What? That cannot be right. What is going on here? There's no way. Did my scale just like completely 2.75 ounces? There's no way. What is happening? Oh no, is this thing like lost its, oh wait, are we negative? Is there something going on with the, is it going backwards? 3.53. What's happening? Oh no. Maybe we should take the, oh, there was a thing underneath it. This was underneath it, throwing the weight off. Golly, that would have been not good. I was going to say, it's a good thing I have a general feel for what knives should weigh. Let's switch this back up. Sorry, slowing down the whole review for this one mistake here. Yeah, that seems more likely. 4.09 ounces. Let's do the Ritter Hogue. I know that guy comes in every time at like 4.5. Yeah. Okay, there we go. So that's accurate. So anyways, jeez. The Bestech Shinkansen coming in at 4.09 ounces. That is not a bad weight at all. A lot of people like to go by ounce and inch. A lot of people go by anything 4 ounces or less is, justifiable. I like to go by carry profile and don't necessarily judge it too much on weight, right? I think that's just fine for the amount of blade and weight that you're getting. If you regularly carry the Benchmade Bug Out and or Spyderco Para 3 lightweight and you think anything that's heavier than those is too heavy, well, then this is going to be too heavy for you. If you wear regular pants, right, work pants, jeans, things like that, not a big deal. Also, make sure that, no matter what it is that you like, make sure that this is actually legal in terms of blade length in your area. All right, I think we've gotten through all that. Let's go ahead and talk about the anatomy here. So in this case, we've got blue titanium. Now, there are a few different variants. They've got blue, they've got tumbled, and I think maybe they've got gold or DLC, something like that. Each one, it seems like, has a different contrasting pivot color. This is okay. Blue and gold isn't my favorite thing. If I was going to pick this up, I'd probably pick up the plain blasted frame with the carbon fiber inlay. I think all of them have the carbon fiber inlay. It looks nice. Like I said, the thing that bothers me the most are the 2 screws that are in the inlay. I don't mind the lines here. It is nice and contoured, and honestly, the whole thing has this nice straight, I guess, bullet train look to it. The profile, I really like the profile, and I really like the blade. Colors on, like I said, colors on this guy, and maybe the screws on the inlay kind of bother me a little bit, but overall, it's pretty good. All the corners and edges and everything are nicely knocked down. There's no sharp edges to speak of anywhere. There is some jimping back here, but it's sunk low enough that it's really not functional. It's just for when you're engaging the front flipper, and the front flipper works excellent. I mean, this is great. I got no issue. I got nothing to complain about in the way they designed the front flipper. It's just great. We have kind of a two-tone blade here, kind of blasted, kind of satin finish. That's okay. I always opt for an all tumbled blade, but this is fine. Some people are going to prefer this over a tumbled blade. Everything's nicely knocked down. No sharp edges or anything overly sharp up here. It is pretty thick, but it drops a decent amount. It's got quite a bit of room to drop before the cutting edge. The flat is pretty high, and it runs out about 50% the length of the blade, but it still manages to carry some decent thickness out to the tip, so not anything super delicate out here. And we are working with S35VN, so this is definitely going to be a blade that can be put through some extra use for sure. It doesn't get absolutely laser beam thin behind the edge. It's okay. It's going to be perfectly acceptable for the cutting task that it was meant to perform, and anything that you would use it for in terms of EDC, it's going to be just fine. Beautiful blade, very straightforward, very plain, right? Some people like some extra craziness going on in their knives. I kind of like a straightforward, boring look, and this does that, but it adds complexity in some of the details, right? So I appreciate that. This area right here is an area that you can kind of choke up on, but it's not really a forward choil. So if you're going to do that, honestly, it's fairly comfortable. It's not as comfortable as it would be if it were an actual choil, right? But maybe that would take away from the design. I don't know. Just be careful if you're going to do that. There's not really much stopping you from running your finger up on the blade, but I appreciate that you can do that if you want to. And because this is a front flipper and nothing else, it doesn't have anything in the cutting path, so you can really make use of that blade. That's nice. I believe the stops on this guy are internal. I'm going to get that other flashlight here real quick. By the way, the one that I'm using that's it's set to be just a tad. All of my flashlights are set to different brightnesses depending on what it is that I'm looking at. This Olight Warrior M2R Pro is interesting. I'm not really sure 100% of what I think about it yet, but it's interesting. The actual stop pin is... Does it follow? No, it's fixed. You can see it right there. So that's fine. It's an internal stop pin. Those are always nice. Hides everything. Doesn't make it seen on the outside, so that's okay. No big deal. Not that other designs that don't do that are not good, right? Back here we have a contrasting gold backspacer. Like I said, not my favorite color combination, but there are different color combinations, or there were, of these guys. So you can kind of pick the one, if it's available, you know, that matches up with your personality, your flavor, right? I love how it looks. I like gear pattern backspacers. They've got this set up nice. It is nice and flush with the back, so that's cool. There is a lanyard hole, but it is not being prioritized over the clip, so that is very welcome. This is a very plain and simple pocket clip. It's also gold. But because of the shape and profile of this knife, I think it really looks good. I think that it, you know, despite it being plain and simple, it doesn't look slapped on there. It looks like it was thought out, meant to, you know, go with the design. And it doesn't carry deep, but it doesn't carry shallow either. It's about right here. There's not much sticking up out of your pocket, so that's fine. Plenty of retention. It does that. It doesn't do that thing where it like curves up and out. Like, I hate that, right? This is more of just a ramp. It makes it a little easier to get it over your the seam of your pocket, so that's fine. And the position of carry and just the overall profile, you know, lead to a pleasant experience in the pocket. I got nothing to complain about there. Always like how Bestech does their pivots. They've got a show side, and then on the back is the adjustment side. They're always easy to adjust. I never have an issue with that. The lock bar does have a steel lock bar insert, which is fine. Doubles as the over travel stop, and then it's got a secondary over travel. I think, is that lipped? I'm not really sure if that carbon fiber's lipped. Can we see in there? Yeah, is it cut? Yeah, actually, I think it is lipped. Okay, so there's two. I mean, the carbon fiber, I guess, acts as the over travel. That's fine. I kind of like these designs like this because it gives you more room to put your finger out here without actually putting pressure on the lock bar, which I think is really welcome, especially in a front flipper design. These knives are the most likely to be accidentally thrown, right? And if that's going to happen, I'm going to guess a lot of times if that does happen, it's because people are putting too much pressure on the lock bar. They go to flip this and it doesn't react the way that they want it to because the blade doesn't come out, and then your hand is just like, bleh. You know, I'm sure there's somebody watching this who's accidentally thrown a front flipper from, you know, just it being a new weird thing. And so this is nice. Little things like that where it does cover some of the lock bar and allows you a little more versatility with hand positions. That's welcome. That's a nice, I have to assume that was done on purpose. So I think that's really cool. This blade is completely and totally centered. And then your lockup on this guy is absolutely solid. No play up, down, left, or right. That's great. The detent is not very clicky. In fact, it's kind of a mush. See what I mean? It's kind of a mush. But there's no detent lash. There's no detent lash at all. So I can't really fault it for that. I just want to point that. I always like detents that go click. This is kind of like a dunk. You know, I'll show you again. Whatever. It's as long as there's no detent lash, I don't really care. So again, what can I complain about here? It's pretty big. Some people aren't gonna, you know, be able to carry or not like to carry really big knives. Decent behind the edge. The screws on the inlay, I don't like that. There's plenty of designs out there where the inlay just is set into the titanium and it's not removable. It doesn't need to be, right? And so I think that takes away from the appearance here. this isn't really a flaw. There's not much of a, I mean, this isn't a choil. You got to be careful about where you're putting your hands, right? What else can I really complain about here? I don't know that I really complain too much about anything. I mean, this is just a straightforward design. Bestech, especially, like, their budget knives are awesome. They're almost all just great. Their higher end stuff, like, they can be a little bit wild and crazy with some of the designs, and they're hit or miss for me. But this is a good one. Honestly, there's a lot of good here. If you like big knives, you like front flippers, and you like ones that kind of do a better job of like catering to people who are new to front flippers and are just trying to learn and be able to manipulate them without dropping it. Yeah, this is a good one. I guess one downside is that you only have the option to front flip it. It's going to be, I mean, you can sort of pinch it right here and just slowly pull it out if you want to. But that's the case with most front flippers. So this is a pretty friendly design. It's just a big one, you know? So the biggest downside that a lot of people are going to see is this is a big knife. It weighs 4 ounces. That's just going to be too big for some people, right? And if you don't like front flippers, this isn't going to be for you. Other than that, if you can overlook the fact that it's got T6 screws and way too many of them, this is pretty good if you can get your hands on it. They wanted $199 for this thing. I think that's totally justified. We got a lot going on here. We've got the carbon fiber inlay. The materials are good. There's nice contouring. And by the way, I didn't talk about this, but the ergonomics are excellent. This is really, really comfortable. There's plenty of handle room, right? So if you wear an XL glove like me, or even if you've got bigger hands than me, this is just going to be nice and open and easy to, I mean, I've got room to move around. I can choke back and I can still get 4 fingers on it, or I can choke way up, get right behind the blade if I want to. So this is nice, right? The biggest issue here is that, again, like I said, at the time of this recording, it doesn't seem to be available. So you can check out the links if you just want to look at the different variants of this knife that were available, or if you want to check and see if it's available now, right? It might be. Then yeah, you can do that. If you use my links, it does benefit my channel. Guys, I think that's going to be pretty much it. I think that's really all that I can say about this knife. This is cool. I am going to be putting this in my most recommended knives playlist. I think this is good. Check it out if you get an opportunity. Just don't overpay for it on the secondary market. Make sure to follow me on Instagram as well. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do not like. So check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that metal complex logo right there and subscribe, because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.